Well, good evening, and welcome to this event in our annual lecture series. This event tonight is one of a series of talks that Dr. Sood will be given throughout the year. He is our visiting scholar for this year, and the Visiting Scholar Fund was established at the Institute by Lindy Celine, who many of you I think knew. Lindy passed away this past year. He established this fund anonymously, but I think I would like to recognize him and thank him now that he's passed away. Just what an incredible gift this has been to us, to be able to bring scholars who come for the year and then provide a real benefit to our entire community. Lindy's been a good friend of this university. He was one of the founding fellows of the Reinhart Institute. He was one of the founding members of our advisory council for the Institute and also a longtime board member at Viterbo. And a very close friend. The gift that he gave the Institute to establish this Visiting Scholar Fund came out of a casual conversation that we had 15 years ago. And so thanks to Lindy and to Lindy's family. Our speaker tonight is going to be introduced by Mariah Stadinsky, who's the new student assistant for the Reinhart Institute. Please welcome Mariah.
Good evening. My name is Mariah Stadinsky, and I am the student assistant for the D.B. Reinhart Institute for Ethics and Leadership. Dr. Sood is a professor of medicine at Mayo Clinic and directs the Mind-Body Medicine Initiative. He is also a husband, father, researcher, consultant, and author. Dr. Sood created the Mayo Clinic Healthy Living Resilient Mind program and has written multiple books, including the Mayo Clinic Guide to Stress-Free Living, the Mayo Clinic Handbook for Happiness, Immerse, a 52-week course in resilient living, and Mindfulness Redesigned for the 21st Century. Dr. Sood received the 2010 Distinguished Service Award, the 2010 Innovator of the Year Award, the 2013 Outstanding Physician Scientist Award, and the 2016 Faculty of the Year Award from Mayo Clinic. He was also honored as the Robert Wood Johnson Healthcare Pioneer in 2015. The Intelligent Optimist, formerly Ode Magazine, selected Sood as one among the top 20 intelligent optimists helping the world to become a better place. In 2016, he was selected as the top impact maker in healthcare in Rochester, Minnesota. Through his work, Dr. Sood is committed to decreasing suffering and increasing happiness. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Sood.
Thank you. It's November 8th today, so in this audience, I'm sure many of you would have had birthday in the last few weeks or will have birthday in the coming few weeks. How many of you were born in October, November time frame? Oh boy, so that's about a third of us. So why not start with celebrating your birthday? So I would love for you to sing happy birthday. So stress management, right? So 1, 2, 3, go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear resilient friend. Happy birthday. You. Thank you. So as you can see, I'm from India originally. I've changed a lot of things about me in the last 24 years. But I still have this slumdog millionaire accent that will continue. So anytime I'm not making sense or break into Hindi, please raise your hands. We'll sprinkle questions as we go along. What we're going to do is really talk about brain and how human brain operates, and through awareness of becoming aware of the design of the brain and what struggles we have with this design. So our brain is this phenomenal complex information processor with 86 billion neurons. And these are three main brain areas I'm showing. The prefrontal cortex, which holds rational decisions. So if you amygdala is the fear center of the brain, it spots the spider in the basement. Hippocampus tells you that it's a spider, and prefrontal cortex says, don't call 911, because if there's a spider in the basement, that's not enough to call 911. So you've got rational part of the brain, memory, and fear center. Despite this awesomeness, our brain has some glitches in its design. So let me see if you would like to solve this brain quiz. What is your brain struggling with right now, today, at this moment? Focus, fatigue, and fear. Absolutely. So when you're doing dishes or when you're driving, your brain is not driving. Your brain is doing all that. Right? And your thoughts are going from one to the other. And you're not saying, I have the most wonderful kids, the best partner in the world. How come I have so much more money than I ever needed? The brain is going through all the what ifs, the could have, the should have. An average person has 150 undone tasks at any time. So I was asking a dentist colleague of mine, what proportion of the time your mind wanders when you're working on people's teeth? Guess what was the answer? Sorry? Yeah, pretty high. So he didn't confess to 100%. He did say 80 to 90%. So next time you see a dentist, make sure you sound interesting to them so they pay attention to you. And the same thing happens at work, even though, she looks like she's checked out, she's somewhere else because her mind is all over the place. And I'm sure you've been there. So my colleagues at Mayo in neurosciences department wanted to see how active human brain is at rest when you are not doing anything. They thought the entire brain will shut down when you are resting. But when we looked at the resting scan of the brain, it looked like this. So let me orient you. So each small square is change in blood flow, and what you're seeing is blobs of blue and red that are forming and dissolving. So these are networks in the brain. So our brain is this giant network of 86 billion neurons, and these are organized in two functional modes. The first mode is what we like to call the focused mode. So focused mode is when something interesting is happening, something amusing is happening in your life. All the aha moments, the wow moments. You go to farmer's market, you see an old friend you haven't met in 20 years. The best example of focused mode I always share is my 7-year-old when she does what I like to call pee-pee dance. Pee-pee dance is when she puts her legs together and she's doing like this at a play date or somewhere, and I say, honey, you have to go. She said, Daddy, I don't have to go, but she actually has to go. So what is happening in front of her is so interesting that she forgets her physical body. She's immersed in her experience. So next time at work you're doing pee-pee dance, that means you're really immersed in your activity. Your brain is in the focus mode. So that is the first mode of the brain. It's hosted by a particular network. We don't need to go there. Our brain loves to be in the focus mode. But there is a second mode of the brain called the default mode. So default mode is reading a book. You read half a page, you say, what was I reading? Has that ever happened to you? You were mind wandering at that time. And we're like that 50 to 80% of the time during the day. Why is that? Because our brain does not love to be in the default mode. It is not having the best time. So let me take you to you're 16, you're learning to drive. Would you have appreciated a phone call at that time? No, right? Because you're immersed. But now you can drive and you can sip coffee and listen to music and speed and look out for police car all at the same time. Because you've got so much more residual attention. The same thing happens with food. We barely pay attention and the whole pizza slice is gone. Or brushing teeth in the morning. How many of you spent full 2 minutes this morning brushing your teeth? Full 2 minutes. So that's a pretty good number, 20%. I was asking my Mayo physician colleagues a few months ago, it was 0%. In about an audience of 100. How many of you multitasked this morning while brushing your teeth? Yeah, so pretty busy, yeah. And the same up there. Or you go home and you tell two things to your partner, they look like this, totally blank. because they were somewhere else when you were talking to them. So that is the default mode of the brain. And our brain spends 50 to 80% of the time. Our brain is not having a good time when it is in default mode. Okay, so the first learning point is we spend half our day or more with wandering attention. And I'll keep sprinkling these learning points as we go along. So let me ask you this question, because some of you may be asking that actually I'm doing pretty well when I'm mind wandering. I'm enjoying it, I'm being creative. So it is not all bad. Default mode is not all bad, because you can be creative, you can keep all the balls in the air, you can think about stuff, you can solve complex problems. So the correct answer is all of the above. All of the above are benefits of default. It's just that we are too much in default mode these days because of how complex our life has become. The second question, a good personal approach to handling stress is to just accept what is, decrease mind wandering, or continue catastrophizing. So the answer is decrease mind wandering. You cannot just plainly accept what is. It is what it is can sometimes be annoying. Personal question. What are you missing out in life by spending too much time with excessive mind wandering? So I would like to break for 1 minute, and I would like you to confess to the person sitting by your side, one thing you've missed out in life because of excessive mind wandering. So break for 1 minute, and then we will come back. Okay, let's come back. I know you just found your BFF, and so this is the first challenge of the brain. I've been trying to study the human condition, studying myself. Why am I not as happy as I can be or should be, given my condition and the material condition, the physical condition, and I've realized that there are some vulnerabilities in my brain. The first thing is I'm not showing up for life. I'm mostly inside my head, mind wandering. That leads to the second challenge of the brain, which is fatigue. So with respect to fatigue, here is the biology, here is the summary of it. There is two kinds of organs in the body. There is kidneys. Kidneys are designed to work 24/7. You don't say, I'm going to rest my kidneys from 2 to 5 p.m. in the afternoon. The kidneys are designed to go all day long, but brain gets tired. How long does it take for the brain to get tired if you're doing something that is borderline boring? What do you think? Pretty quickly, it's within about an hour, your brain is beginning to get fatigue, which leads to drop in accuracy and increase in reaction time and decrease in engagement and decrease in performance. It's mathematical. So if you have not chosen to rest your brain by 10 a.m. in the morning, you're going the rest of the day with a tired brain. So it's pretty mathematical and very biological. So I realized that I'm actually living my entire life with tired brain most of the time, and we'll discuss what are the solutions for that. So the second take-home point is our brain fatigues after 60 minutes of an involving task, particularly if it is boring. Question for you. Which of these brain hungers is most easily met in modern times? Rest, uplifting emotions, motivation, and calories. Calories. So our core hungers that are not met are rest. The second one is uplifting emotions. And I realized it only very recently. I was seeing a patient at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I was very tired. And my 5-year-old is struggling with constipation for like 5 days in a row or something. My wife sends me a text in the middle of this clinical visit. The text says she did it. I am very happy. I want to get up and do high five with my patient because I experienced uplifting emotions. So we need a snack of uplifting emotions every 2 to 3 hours. Keep this in mind. And the third is motivation. Why am I doing what I am doing? This is all within the design of the brain. Brain fatigue is most likely from, what do you think? Neurotransmitter accumulation, low blood flow, nerve cell death. And I have not shared this with you. It is because of accumulation of neurotransmitters. When brain starts working and going fast, it accumulates a lot of dead neurotransmitters. Okay? How many of you feel completely wiped out by 6 p.m. in the evening on more than 10 days in a month? So about 60% of us. So it'll be interesting for you to, I think this will be worthwhile as we go along, the discussion that is going to follow. I was exactly like you. My battery will be down to 4% by 6 p.m. because I had not chosen to rest my brain during the day. So when you go back to the first one, you see rest, uplifting emotions, and motivation. And that is what calls RUM moments, R-U-M, right? Rest, uplifting emotions, motivation. So that's a different kind of RUM, though. So keep that in mind. It's not the traditional RUM that you are familiar with. Okay, so this is the second challenge of the brain I realized as I was trying to understand my own angst. The third challenge is shown on this slide. What draws the greatest attention here? Why? Looks out of place, right? It's too big to be there. But how many people die of spider bites in a year? Less than 5. Compared to that, how many more people are killed by donuts? So you go to a party, they have a box of donuts, you've got 20 donuts staring at you. You should run away in fear because they try to kill you by feeding donuts. But we get attracted to donuts because we get attracted to calorie-dense food, right? How many of you recall seeing a police car in the last 1 week? Remember seeing a police car? Why do you remember seeing a police car? Because you were driving, your heart was beating at 68 per minute. You see a police car, you've got tachycardia. Heart rate goes up. 74, 76, and then it settled. Brain says, my owner had tachycardia, rapid heart rate without exercise. I need to remember that. Body doesn't like rapid heart rate without exercise. So we remember moments of vulnerability. We remember people who make us feel unworthy. My neurosurgery colleague, 10,000 surgeries, only remembers the 4 that went bad. That's how we are designed. So there are some threats in the world, a lot of threats in our head. Concerns, fears in the future, hurts, regrets in the past. These are like sumps. They draw attention. You get a call from your physician's office. They leave a message on your voicemail. They say, call me back ASAP. I need to tell you about a test result. You call back, nobody's picking the phone. How is Friday night sleep going to be? It'll be disturbed, right? So how are these created? There is the original issue. And then we think about it. Then we say, I'm not going to think anymore, which makes me think even more. All fueled by awfulizing, worst case scenario. So mind gets filled with a lot of these. They color the present moment. They make life dull. So this is an average Homo sapiens brain. A lot of these in the past predisposed to depression. A lot of these in the future predisposed to anxiety. So the next take-home point is, so what happens to the brain is that the good areas of the brain start shrinking because of this, and the bad areas start growing. And after some time, these changes can become irreversible. So our attention selectively focuses on threat. What do you think? Our focus on fear is always rational, always helpful, always irrational, or sometimes rational, sometimes helpful? Yeah. If you're not sure with me, usually last is the correct answer, just to give you an idea. So you score well. A useful and practical first step to decrease stress is to practice 45-minute meditation, train your attention, or let go of fear completely. What is practical? See, letting go of fear is not possible. I need my fear. to be safe. And 45-minute meditation is also very difficult. So I'll share with you how training attention is the correct answer. So let me put this together. So you step on a nail. What do? Do you dig deeper or do you withdraw your foot? It's a silly question. You withdraw your foot. Turn on the news and there's news of a terrorist attack. What do? Watch more or turn it off right away? Watch more. See, our sensory system is designed to withdraw from pain. Our mind is designed to go deeper into pain. That's a bad design if we want to maximize happiness. But that is our default, our core default. Any questions so far? So I've covered a gist of about 10,000 research studies in developing this basic schematic. So if you don't agree with me, let's argue until you agree, and then we'll go forward. Any questions so far? I can't see you guys very well up there, but okay, well, that's good. So the introspective moment here is I would love for you to close your eyes just for a few seconds and think about the most important people in your life, maybe 3 most important people. And don't feel guilty. It's okay if you have 5 or 10 or 20. Their time will come too. Just think about 3 for now. Okay, so when you have 3 people, you can open your eyes because we will use this information very soon. So what I realized as I was working on my own personal well-being, that my brain needs really help in terms of its basic core design is not really meant for maximizing happiness. So I said I need to train myself. And the first thing I realized was I was waking up miserable. So when we wake up in the morning, and the second part is attention practices, how long does it take for your mind to start into, relationships or something else right after you wake up? Is it like 20 minutes or less than 5 seconds? 20 minutes, somebody said. Oh, their nose grew longer for sure. For most of us, it's very quick, right? What should I do? What should I dread? I realized, and we know that when we wake up, our adrenaline goes up and our steroids go up and we have higher risk of heart attack and stroke and sudden death first thing in the morning. So I said, I need to change that. So here is my invitation to you. My invitation to you is when you wake up tomorrow morning, before you leave the bed, think of these 3 people you just thought about, and send them your silent gratitude for being in your life. Let's practice this together. It's a very simple practice. It's about 2 minutes long. So I invite you to close your eyes, and I'll take you through this practice. So please close your eyes. It's what we call the morning gratitude practice. So imagine you're waking up in the morning. Try to recall the color of the floor where you woke up. Think about the first person in your life who matters a lot to you. Recall that person's face. And then send that person your silent gratitude for being in your life. Second person, go back to the first memory of this person, the first time you saw him or her. Then send your silent gratitude. Third person, look into the eyes of this person and notice the color of the eyes. Then send your silent gratitude. Go back in time and look at yourself when you were 8-year-old. Recall your hairstyle at that time. It's okay to smile. Then send a warm hello to your 8-year-old self. Think about someone who has passed away, who you loved. Give that person a virtual hug. And then send silent gratitude to that person. When you are ready, you can open your eyes. So the first person I usually think about when I wake up is my wife, and we've been married 25 plus years, and I think about one good thing she has said or done in the last few days. And I send her my silent gratitude, so she knows by the time I'm meeting her in the morning that I'm not grumpy. I've already been grateful towards her. That has completely transformed our mornings, and she gives the same back to me. And that good energy then goes to our children. The same thing can be applied at work. You can include your work colleagues in your gratitude practice, or one of the things that I do, like today morning, I was going to have a tough phone call, so I just meditated on the people I was going to talk to, and I reminded myself, why am I grateful to these people who I'm going to chat with? And it completely changed the flavor of the phone call. So preparing yourself, Thanksgiving is coming, Christmas is coming, New Year is coming. You are going to meet some people who you may not fully agree with, to put it simply. And so if you preemptively plan gratitude for them, I think the interaction will go much better. So one suggestion is to take a Post-it note, write the word gratitude on it, stick it to your bathroom mirror. If you forget this practice, find yourself in the bathroom. When you see that note, then go back to bed and start over. So it becomes a habit. So, yes.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I'm just thinking to myself, in the morning when I don't get out of bed until I've said my prayers. So it's like you're meditating or whatever, but I want to say my prayers, and then I want to stretch, and then I want to get out of bed. I don't want to just jump out of bed like I would have as an 8-year-old that had no concept of anything. In my mind, back then, I can't imagine, I was like, nothing, There's no awareness as far as I'm concerned, but I'm saying now, as I'm older, it's like, okay, there's a process to this, We don't just run around fast. I need to get, one thing at a time, But that's my routine. It's just to pray in the morning before I get out of bed, and then sit up and stretch, and then get out of bed. And then I'm like, okay, good to go.
And that's great. This is another version of that, and you can certainly add prayer to this. You can, before you start your day in the morning, when you're grateful for the people and sending your gratitude, assume that you're protecting them for the week by sending them gratitude. That will keep you going, and it'll deepen your practice. It'll also create a little guilt the next day if you don't do it. That's a good way to keep going. So having a routine in the morning so that your attention doesn't straight go into wandering mind is a good idea. And it doesn't always have to be loved ones. It can be colleagues, friends, neighbors, pets. Pets are welcome because they are family. Any other question about or comment about this gratitude practice? It took me 10 years to develop it. I was thinking about nature and body and success and this and that, and I realized, I'm being judgmental here, but boring. When I thought about people are never. I can think about my dad's eyes, a million times. I can hold my babies, my daughters in my arm, a million times, and be in the OB room when they were born, and I don't get bored. And if you're, sometimes people have said, I don't have 5 people or 3 people, and that's sad. But if that is the case, I tell them to think about all the ladies who came for your mother's baby shower before you were born. So you can be creative about who you're grateful for. Okay? So this is the first practice. We're taking control of the attention. What happens is the moment we wake up, we give back control of our attention. But this is a micro way, this is a rum moment to take control of the attention. So we give back control of our attention right when we wake up, and the morning gratitude practice can make the attention stronger, can enhance relationships, and can decrease loneliness. As you know, that our society, 40 to 50% of people have perceived loneliness, and perceived loneliness equals smoking 15 cigarettes a day in its impact on our well-being. And it can also provide uplifting emotions. Is it only for the morning? No. It can be practiced at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. Has to be practiced with 5 people? No, not always with 5 people. 3, 2, 1, whatever works the best for you. Can include work colleagues and generally takes a short period of time. Here is what I would love for us to do. It will clog the bandwidth of the internet here, but I would love for you to send a short, very short text or note to someone who really cares, you care about, but you haven't connected with this person. Think about someone who you really care about, but you haven't connected with this person. So, and use your smartphone to send them a note in the next 1 minute, okay? Let's do that. Okay, nice. Thank you. I sort of try to do this during the day, perhaps once or twice, but not every day. And I almost always get reply from this person who you remember saying, I was going through the toughest day of the year or something. And people are struggling. And if you just send an authentic, connection, love, I think they resonate with it, they value it. Love is of two types. One is love, which is love, intimate love with loved ones. But there is love 2.0, which you can have with everybody. You can have it with your cab driver. You can have it with airline agent, your hairdresser. This is authentic human-to-human connection with another human being. So, which leads to the second part, which is what we call attention practice, 2-minute rule. So the first part of the whole program was becoming aware of how our brain operates, the focus, fatigue, fear. Now we're trying to find solutions. The first solution is right when we wake up, we spend the first 2 minutes in control of our attention by focusing it on gratitude for our loved ones. So I'm only taking 2 minutes of your time. The total time I'll take out of your day is about 4 minutes, not more than that. That's all. I hope you have that much time during the day. If not, then there's a problem. Then you have a problem in your life. We need to examine. The second, I'll take 2 minutes of your time is what we call the 2-minute rule. So 2-minute rule is giving 2 minutes of undivided attention to someone in your life who deserves that attention but is not getting it. Are there any couples here for me to pick on? Any couple? There's no brave couple that'll come forward? Okay. All right, thank you. So let's say you both were sitting in the cafeteria having coffee, and your high school buddy shows up. Who is going to be more interesting? Will it be him or your high school buddy you haven't met for 30 years? Why is that? Yeah, and same for you, sir, right? We don't want to create a fight here. Thank you, yeah. So here's the thing. You are, I'll just skip that. So you are there. So between the two of you is love. Between you and your high school buddy is novelty. So the way human brain operates, novelty beats love 100% of the time. That's a tricky design if you want to maximize happiness, right? This is a family that really loves each other. You don't see it because they don't find each other novel. Novelty fades. It naturally fades. This is an example of novelty, simple. Convergence of attention towards the same thing. And even though he's giving instructions, drinking his wine, he's at least there, which is novel. She's teaching him how to make salad. He's holding her glass of wine. That's the real story. These are all. So how do you find that novelty? Because it naturally fades. Say you haven't met for a month. You went to China for a trip. And you're meeting each other at the airport. Will you find each other novel after that gap? Yeah? So the practice is, again, very simple. I've been doing this for the last 8 years. Meet your family at the end of each day as if you haven't seen them for a month, by assuming they are novel. So here's what I do. I check my emails in the garage, and then I tell myself I'm going to meet some very special people I have not met for a month. And with that intention, I go inside. Sometimes I would do, okay, my 14-year-old is 1,200 days away from college. That is a wake-up call right away. That I'm not going to mess these up. So there's two things. How many of you have paused to look at the color of your loved one's eyes in the last week or two? So it's a very small number. You've missed a very simple way to cause an oxytocin surge within you. So here's again a little practice we will do. I would love for you to take out your phone and go to the photo stream and pick out some pictures of your loved ones, zoom in, and just notice the color of their eyes. So my suggestion is, within 30 seconds of reaching home, look at the color of your loved one's eyes. For 2 seconds, not more than 2 seconds. Please don't do it for 2 minutes. They'll freak out. The idea is not to shock and awe them. The idea is to engage in an authentic way. Because most of the interaction, you know how long is a typical family together at the end of the day when they come back? 90 seconds. And then they are off to whatever they were doing. 75% of the interaction happens in the first 30 seconds. That's all. So look at the color of their eyes. This is a very good way to come in physical proximity. And then what you say is very important. Two prime ideas. One is remind them they were in your thoughts. People love to know they have a healthy space in your brain's real estate. I was thinking about you when I saw this purple flower, because whatever, so remind them they were in your thoughts. That's one. Two is remind them how they were right. Honey, you were really right when you, and fill anything after that. You've got 5 minutes of undivided attention. and a humor and good story. So that's what you say. That's what, and first 2 minutes, I'm not saying you don't try to improve for the entire evening period. That's not the idea. The first 2 minutes. The second thing, which is the most difficult part of this whole theme, this was taught to me by my ER physician colleague's wife. She said he comes from ER 8 hours, and then he's running ER at home for the next 4 hours. I'm his nurse, my kids are his interns. Let's heat up the food and clean the carpet and do CPR on mashed potatoes. So for the first 2 minutes when you go home, try not to improve anybody. That's going to be very hard. If they have dyed their hair pink, that's okay. If pierce their tongue, that's something, pushing it. So, because otherwise they see you as emotional predator. They say, I was feeling pretty good until mom showed up on the scene, and then I don't feel good anymore. So next time when she comes, I'll just hide in my cave, in my mind, in my social media account. Huge price to pay. You want them to associate you with feeling good about themselves. And because it's very difficult to dislike somebody who likes you. Very difficult. Did you have a question? This is not just meant for loving family. You can practice this with colleagues, with friends, with neighbors, with pets, etc. There was a question there.
What about those of us who don't no longer work and who are together most of the day?
That is precisely what I was saying, that you can practice with, what you need is an authentic connection with one person during the day for 2 minutes. This can be your neighbor, this can be your pet, this can be a loved one over the phone if you wish, or FaceTime. And not all practices are also for everybody. So it doesn't always have to be, you come back. This is just a generic idea I am sharing of having an authentic connection. What comes in the way of authentic connection is very quick judgment. Very quick judgment. When I see you, I'm quickly deciding in about 30 milliseconds whether you are safe or, how attractive a person is, etc. And we're trying to delay that judgment and have what we call radical acceptance. I accept you as you are, and actually try to see you deeper. Instead of seeing you as just you, I want to see you as a dad, as a spouse, as a son, as a brother, as a neighbor, as a colleague, and so on. So seeing you in totality. That's a great, yes.
Okay, so what about the opposite, where I don't see my daughter, I don't see her hardly at all, and I want to see her, and I'm getting hyper to get to, make the contact, and then she's like, okay, mother, take a break, you settle down. I'm like, no, I just have to tell you all these things, because I don't get to see you, so I have to try to make it up,
Yeah.
So, how do you just settle in? When you can't see them, you're not really with them, you can't connect with them, then you just kind of overreact because you can't, it's like, okay, I gotta get a whole bunch of stuff in here in about 2 seconds, because that's all I'm gonna get anyway.
Right. So the risk is you'll freak them out. You'll get them suspicious. I was going to come to that. That is a risk. That is a known side effect of this practice. I'm glad there is no drop in blood counts or GI upset. Yeah. Well, again, these are all starters. What I'm sharing with you is a starter kit. My whole agenda is those 2 minutes become 2 hours very quickly before you know it. And the idea is you just practice with one person. It could be your spouse, it could be your pet, and then this becomes your disposition. This is how you connect with people. Instead of feeling afraid or judging people, you authentically start connecting with people. You start enjoying people. So unless we start enjoying people, we will not enjoy work, we will not enjoy relationships. So and what prevents us from enjoying people? Feeling judged or judging them very quickly. That's what we're trying to take away. And we are asking you to see them as novel, as interesting. Does it make sense? That's what we are getting at. Any other questions? Those are great questions. It tells me that you haven't dozed off yet, or I haven't pushed you into sleep. So the same thing can be applied at work. This is part of onboarding at Mayo. So what we say, when patients come to the clinic, they don't want to be improved. People want to be validated, and they want connection before you tell them how they can be better. So people want to be validated and to have connection. And helping others feel worthy is an equal part. Does anyone here struggle with being appreciated too much? Just appreciate it. I can promise you everybody you have met and will be meeting struggles with self-worth. How many of you have felt bad about yourself in the last month or two? Almost everybody, right? One thing I am convinced, the good people are very good at feeling bad about themselves. So all of you who have felt bad about yourself, you're actually a good person. Just by virtue of that rule. So that is mindful presence, the 2-minute rule. And this is not meant to be nerdy, like you put a stop, alarm clock, the 2 minutes over, now I'm just going to start complaining. That's not the idea. So we do not attempt to make affiliative connections with our loved ones when we meet them. We don't try it actively. It's, honey, how was your day? What's up for dinner? It's a big loss of opportunity, big loss of connection, because this is what happens. When I first came here in medical care, most of my connection was affiliative. There's three kinds of connections. There's adversarial, logistical, and affiliative. And where do you think we are spending bulk of our time these days? Logistical. That's not nurturing. And it takes very little to convert logistical to affiliative. I'm in a cab, the cab driver is driving. I say, okay, this guy has a family of 4. Suddenly my connection becomes affiliative. I'm flying, I've got all crazy lunatic people around me, and they're just gonna, start shouting whatever I say. This is all my family. These are all my family at 36,000 feet. Completely changes my flying experience. So you can convert a logistical connection into an affiliative connection. I'm getting excited. Very easily. It doesn't take a whole lot. It just needs that intentionality. That's all. Okay, the 2-minute rule is only for 2 minutes. No, the goal is this gives you insight into developing authentic connections all day long, so you start enjoying people, start going into their story. Is only for happy, loving families? No. This is, you can practice with neighbors, pets, colleagues, and so on. And it definitely can include work colleagues. A point to think here, which was very important for me about 10 days ago when I was thinking about this slide, or these lines. Do you have someone in your life who deserves a little better attention of yours than you're giving to that person right now? And when I thought about it 10 days ago, I had my mother's face come in front of me. She's staying with us, but I'm so busy in my life, I'm barely having deep, authentic connection. So I've changed that, which has completely changed our quality of interaction and my own guilt and my own engagement and learning from her. She's 84-year-old. If I do the math, if she lives to 90, that's, 1,800 days more. So finite time. So this is mindful presence, intentional presence. So these are some ideas around attention. Any questions? So I've taken 4 minutes of your time so far. The morning 2-minute gratitude practice and the 2-minute rule sometime during the day, maybe at the end of the day, if you're working, or sometime during the day. Any questions related to this? The third part, which I will just touch upon very lightly, is attitude. Is what kind of mindset do I carry? All right, so those are the three. So mindset is a series of attitudes. So let's say you go for a haircut, and in 5 minutes, you're going to meet your fiance or someone very important to you. And when you come out, this is the outcome of the haircut. So you want to improve your mood very quickly. How are you going to do that? So the first part, whenever you're handling stressful situation, is to identify a crappy haircut. That's my problem. Now, how do I eliminate? Anytime we have a problem, the first step is to try and eliminate it. So we can eliminate it by rescheduling, shaving the head, or wearing a hat. But let's say if we can't do that, is there a way to reframe the situation? Can he be grateful that he has hair? They will come back. Can he be compassionate towards thousands of kids who are getting chemo today and will lose their hair for good? Can he have acceptance that of the hundreds of haircuts, one is going to go bad, and that's how life is? Can he find meaning in it? How can he find meaning in this? Anyone? If she still likes him despite this haircut, she's a keeper. It's a good test of relationship early in his life. But for this bad haircut, he would have never known that. Forgiveness to himself, to the hairdresser, to her if she laughs at him. So these are the 5 principles, because I cannot trust my mind to think rationally consistently. If you had all my thoughts live cast on a radio station, I'll be very embarrassed, because every day I have some crazy thought which doesn't belong to me, which comes. How many of you sometimes think crazy thought? You say, why did I think about it? Because that's not me. Most of you do that when you do that because your brain is tired at that time. You do not have control of your attention, right? So these are the 5 principles that I really trust. They're time-tested. They've been validated in hundreds, thousands of research studies. A lot of mystics and poets and spiritual beings, they all talk about these principles, somewhere around these principles. So one day I thought, okay, we've got 5 principles, and each of them engage the higher cortical brain, the prefrontal cortex. So I said, we have 5 principles, and we have 5 days in a week, so we assigned them a day. So Mondays are my days of gratitude, Tuesday of compassion, Wednesday of acceptance, Thursday of meaning, Friday of forgiveness. So I try to reframe or preemptively think about, maybe Google gratitude quotes on Monday. Maybe think about compassion for somebody on Tuesday. Maybe check cartoons on acceptance on Wednesday, and so on. And we will not go deeper into these. Hopefully we'll have an opportunity later, some other time, to get into these. The idea is not to be nerdy. The idea is, don't say on a Thursday, you know, I can only be compassionate on Tuesdays, because that's how the program is for me. And the good thing is, you only have to forgive on Fridays. You don't have to forgive the entire week. So we have to be practical. So these are the five core principles, and they. Yeah. So okay, we'll go past 8 o'clock now. So meaning is what is most important to you in your life. So for example, and it can be related to work or spirituality or relationships. Those are the 3 main domains. My meaning in life for me personally is, what can I do to make the world a better place for my planet's children? And that is what drives everything I do. And it has taken away all kinds of conflicts from my head. So that is my North Star. For some, it'll be something else. But it has to be something that is altruistic, that is higher, that connects us all together instead of dividing us.
What if you can't attain your meaning?
Oh, the meaning is unattainable. You have to have a meaning that is unattainable, because then you are done and you get bored. If you like Mr. J.C. Penney wanted to have $1 million and he had $1 million, now what? Now let me, increase it to 100 million. So most attainable meanings tend to be egocentric. I want to have something that is so big that it keeps inspiring me all my life. That's how I operate, something big. You can have an attainable. That is the means. Whatever is attainable is usually the means. There's a difference between means and meaning. Means are, specifically what you do. So I'm giving a talk to you, developing this program. That is the means. You have to be flexible about means. Because someday I may not be. I may be physically very weak to do this. But I can still pray for their well-being. And I'm still accomplishing my meaning. So meaning is the bucket. Means are the candies in the bucket. So having a meaning that connects us all together, if all of us sort of strive for that, then the world will be a much better place. Right. What happens is people get too stuck in the means. I will only be happy if I have this house, or if I marry this person, if I sleep on this side of the bed. Those are all, if I do this job, those are all means. Meaning is something higher, something bigger, something more sacred.
Earlier you said that the sensory system is designed to withdraw from pain, but the mind takes us deeper into pain. Can you talk about that a little bit more, because that's very maddening.
Maddening. I'm sorry. So
the mind does that, and I think probably a lot of people have experienced that, hanging on to something. So could you talk a little bit more?
So I've got 2 ancestors. I've got Uncle Bill and Uncle Bob, okay? Uncle Bill is happy-go-lucky, optimistic guy. Bob is, sorry for Bills and Bobs here, Bob is better safe than sorry, okay? So there's some noise in the bushes, and Bill says, it'll be a hedgehog, I'll be okay. Bob says, it could be a tiger, let me take cover. So what happens is, in a proportion of time, it was a tiger. So the Bills got eaten, the Bobs survived to transmit their genes. So we have this negativity bias ingrained within us because it was very beneficial for survival for our ancestors. We mostly died of external injuries. So saving ourselves from external injuries was a big deal. If you and I met in the middle of a forest and if we were from a different tribe, we walked away without punching each other's nose, it was a great meeting. We were not kind to each other. But now the whole thing has changed. Now if you don't answer my text in 2 minutes, I'll be upset. Because you're hurting me emotionally. Now I'm protecting my emotional body. So this whole sensitivity, this whole negativity bias is maladaptive. Because my fear, instead of protecting me, is predisposing me to heart attack and stroke and cancer, which is what I'm likely to die of. And it's hollowing out my brain. And it is forcing me to act preemptively and do bad things. Do you see how maladaptive it is? And so that is why we have to become aware of our predispositions, honor them, and move past them. But unless we become aware of them, we'll be very tribal in this whole world. So we have to understand them, acknowledge if others are behaving that way, so we don't start judging and blaming them, validate it, and then transcend it. Did I answer your question? I'm beginning to answer your question. This is very important for us to understand. Why should I take my gun out if you tailgate me? That's not, I'm basically ending my life and your life, making both of us highly, highly miserable. Because evolutionarily, if you tailgate me, you're insulting me. If you're insulting me, that means in my tribe, my kids will not get the food they need. So my response to you is the evolutionary consequence. What I should have done 10,000 years ago, I'm doing today. For a minor insult, which could be that maybe you were mind wandering, your car came close to mine. But this is happening everywhere now, right? And so because we're not thinking deep enough. That's the problem. Yeah. So what I've shared, basic program is about 30,000 feet view, and I think as you get deeper into the program, then we get into these discussions which are very enriching, and sometimes we do a full day or 2-day sort of discussion. The same concepts can be applied to a lot of different life situations, bad meeting, lost wallet, etc., etc. And our thinking is often conflicted, needs an intentional anchor. We often have, this is a very important question for you to answer, we often have simultaneous conflicting thoughts because of, is it lack of sleep, the brain's design, or the complex world? The brain's design. Don't blame if you have someone who's annoying in your life. They're struggling with the design of the brain. They're struggling with their genetic makeup, their epigenetic changes, and so on. So people who have low prefrontal dopamine tend to be anxious and nervous. They are the ones who will cut you across on the road. Earlier, I used to blame all those people. Now I say, if someone cuts me across on the road, now I say, oh, that's a guy with low prefrontal dopamine. And that has changed my behavior. When you connect biology with behavior, the whole thing changes. Most stressors, modern stressors, can't be eliminated, but they can be reframed. And the two most accessible principles that I've shared with you so far are gratitude and compassion. Now, I see that it's 7:58, so what I have next are a bunch of research studies, which we don't need to go into. That is boring. All these curves, we've done over 22 clinical trials with this approach. You just have to, email me. I'm happy to provide you PDFs if you like to get bored. So I don't think I need to get into those studies and waste our precious time together. The last message I would like to do is to bring my, now 7.5-year-old daughter in our room, and she was once working at daycare, playing at daycare, and she made this beautiful purple starfish, Sally the starfish. Okay, and I went to pick her up. I was going to drive her home, and she was playing with the starfish, and while playing with the starfish, it broke. So I thought she's going to start crying, but instead of crying, she looked at the starfish, and she said, "Daddy, this was a starfish, and now it has become a sailboat." So I thought that's a very good, resilient response. That's an option we have to reframe life's challenges. We identify why are we struggling, and I hope I gave you a little bit of different insight than just talking about, okay, we are busy, we are this, we are that. I sort of try to get into the brain's design, and the reason that helps people is because they feel validated when I talk to any demographic, pretty much. They feel it's not my fault. It is really integral to the design of the brain. And that then leads to solutions, solutions that connect us, solutions that enhance our relationships, decrease loneliness, and hopefully, and those are some of my contexts, hopefully they help us move towards, fulfilling a higher meaning. Thank you for having me. Thank you.